Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel, Art Classes My Way. I have been wanting to make this video since February, and I wanted to make a Valentine's Day video as well, but time just got away from me, and time is still getting away from me. So this is like going up. I really wanted to put this up at the beginning of the month. I'm just now getting to record it. So I apologize for very little notice as far as making this project, but I do hope you guys enjoy it. Now this is obviously a 4-leaf clover project for, as I'm sure you can all guess, St. Patrick's Day. Hooray! So that way we all have nice little charms that keep us safe from being pinched, depending on who's doing the pinching or whether or not if you want it or not. So all I have done is I have made half of a 4-leaf clover, because if you've ever tried to make a 4-leaf clover and do all 4 leaves, it never turns out right. And usually even the first leaf doesn't turn out right. The second leaf turns out awesome, and then everything else just goes to poop from there. So all I did was do half of it, and I ended up finding a leaf that I liked, which was this one. Now when you're doing the 4-leaf clover, you basically want to draw a nice straight line to put these 2 leaves on, and then put your U shape in the middle, so that way you can roughly get your 4 leaves like so, and be able to place them the way you want them to be placed and not get all candy corner and everything. And from there it's just taking your hooper, your round nose pliers, and your wire cutters. Now this wire was 16 gauge here. Now when you're doing this project, basically you're going to be putting this guy up against here. Actually I ended up kind of using this one. It's very hard to get this exact shape. Don't try too hard. You're basically wanting to get the rough idea. As you can see, not exactly heart shaped, but close enough. You can tell what this is supposed to be. And just trying to get that wire to follow the shape that you want it to follow. Now this one was my first one here. And yeah, I ended up doing the smaller version right there of that. And he's fairly close, he's just not as wide. And once I got done with that one, I moved on to the next one. Now when I did this whole piece, I ended up spacing him all by myself. So really by the time I was done shaping the individual leaves, it was more like this, which now you can do a carnation if you wanted. And from there I bent them around by hand to put them in the proper place, and I tried to give it a little stem as well. So start in the middle, bend him around, and then just give everybody a little bit of breathing room. Take away some breathing room so that way others get breathing room. So, and I'm going to have to play with it. Thanks, guys. Ooh, my project. And you can pretty much just sit here and tweak this guy for forever if you wanted to. Now, I'm not going to show you me going through this whole thing and making it. It's pretty darn boring. Pretty much what you're going to do with your hot looper is I used the smallest end to bend my clover around to make that heart shape, and this end here, I used that to bend the wire back to try to give it that little divot for the middle, that little heart. And now that I've got it all bent out of shape, try to make it a little more even. Like I said, you could just sit here and tweak and tweak and tweak all day long. So I don't want to spend too much time on that part of it. It's probably the part that takes the absolute longest, and this is a very simple project, just something fun for everyone. Again, little charms to keep you from getting pinched. Now, obviously, he's not green, so what good is he going to do keeping you from getting assaulted by the pinchy fingers, brothers and sisters, destroying each other in the back seat? Life as we know it comes to an end. I have myself, what gauge are you? 30. I have myself some deep, beautiful green 30 gauge wire. And yeah, lots and lots of wrapping. It's not easy to wrap something like this. You gotta go in and out, in and out. Your wire is probably gonna work hard quite a lot, so keep that in mind. He is probably gonna snap quite a few times. You could have a little candle or a flame nearby so that way you can heat it up. You don't want to turn it black or anything, but just lightly, if you can feel, if I put a candle right about here, which alright, candle right there, candle flame right there. Here's my wire. If I'm holding my wire just above that candle flame at about that distance, and I start feeling the wire, he's getting a little warm. Time to take him off. It doesn't take a lot of heat to soften wire. And this is copper wire, by the way. But the only thing is you don't want to pre-wrap this guy and then try to shape him. Because then, especially with this pre-colored wire, even though it says permanent, quote unquote, permanently colored wire, it is just a coating and your tools will rub it off and it will come off. Honestly, it's better to wrap afterwards so that way you don't end up, you know, marking up your wire, taking off the coating. You could probably go over it, repaint over it. Not exactly recommended because that can still flake off. And as we all know, there are a good many paints out there that are quite dangerous that could be ingested. This is something a little kid could have fun with wearing to school and so on. You don't want them, you know, I mean, heck, high schoolers, they even just shove things in their mouths and just to have something to fiddle with. So, something to just keep in mind, and especially when you have professional paints, even acrylics and watercolor, oil. Obviously you need oil for this stuff. A lot of those paints do still have majorly very, very dangerous chemicals. White, titanium white has titanium in it. That's poisonous. You could use the washable, kid-safe, kindergarten-safe paints, but those don't stay on anything. We all know this to be true, unless it is paper. Won't stick to nothing, and sometimes if the kids put it on too thick then, on the paper, it still won't stick to the paper. Or it flakes off, one of the two. So just keep that in mind. You are going to have to pre-shape him, and then you're going to have to put forth the effort to wrap him. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. And finding a place to start. Oh, when you get this guy started, when you're starting to do him, I like to start in the simplest place to start possible. In this particular case, it was the first leaf of the 4-leaf clover, rather than starting with the stem itself. If you start with the stem itself, then you're going to be working your way this direction. I guess you don't have to necessarily cut it ahead of time, but then you have a wire that's way off this way, or it's all together going off in another direction. I just like being able to gauge my stem a little bit better than trying to figure out the length of stem that I want and then figure out the size of the petals. Do the size of the petals first, then we can do the stem part. Or you can go ahead and just close this guy up. By the time we turn him green, most people are going to get the idea what this is. You could close this guy up and turn him into a different kind of charm for somebody's necklace. So, super, super fun. I might even come up with a few other ideas sitting here talking, not even listening to myself, and thinking about, well, what if I put a little thing here and a little thing here, and oh, that could be fun. Back on with you. So, we are getting started with the wrapping. And there's 2 around. And in the beginning, just holding on to this little tail, keeping him from just spinning on you. And just get to wrapping. It's going to be fun. As soon as you get yourself a good small amount of it going, then you can get some masking tape to pretty much hold everything into place from there. So I'm going to go ahead and do this part and use my time machine, and I will be right back. 1 second. Alright, we pretty much got this guy all wrapped up. Now I'm going to take some E6000 and I'm going to pretty much apply it to this whole end of my wire. Make sure you get some fresh stuff on there. Yeah, enough. Apparently dried way down there. So, poke. Little pressure. And back in we go. There we go. And that's about all that I want. It's just a little globule. We don't want tons. And I want to go ahead and continue to wrap this guy. And then after that, I will unwrap this fella a little bit, put the glue underneath him, and then rewrap him so that way when the glue dries, it is holding on to our wire nice and safely. So I'll be back in just a moment. And we are back. So you can see I have moved him around a little bit, but it is nothing that I cannot move back with my fingers. So take you back in, open you up, move you 2 around, rotate, rotate. And there we have it. Now you can go through and readjust and move around some of the wire. Now, most of your wire is probably not going to be very happy about the bends that you're supposed to be making. So I've decided I want mine to be a lot like this guy here. Because really either you can evenly space them, but there will be gaps. It's pretty much going to be impossible to do it any other way. Either it's completely bare or there are gaps, because that is a small little bend and all those wires are being collected up really tight inside, but there's lots of room on the outside. So that's just physics, really. So you gotta pretty much choose how you want your wire to be from this point forward, and just get your nails or your pokers or whatever you have available to you, needles, and just start moving things around the way you want them to go. Nice and snug. Just pulling out some excess glue from the outside here. that has already decided to start setting up. Now do keep in mind this stuff does need a full 24 to 48 hours to cure. So, yeah. And there we have it. And if you wanted to make this part perhaps longer, you could. I do think mine is quite long enough. Whether or not my tool wants to grab a hold of that piece of bare wire there is another matter. And there you have it. A nice little charm for your necklace. Thank you everybody for coming and hanging out. Please like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Feel free to ask me questions down in the comments section of anything that you, in general, would like to know about. I'm here to answer anything that I am actually able to answer. I don't know everything, but I will do my absolute best for you guys. And if you feel like maybe a little insecure about asking me in the comments section, do feel free to email me any of your questions as well. More than happy to do that. If you email me, I'll just take it as you just want to remain anonymous, and yeah, feel free to do that as well. I hope you enjoyed this holiday edition of Art Classes My Way. Let me know if it's something you would be interested in the future, and if you have a holiday that America doesn't have and you want to learn something for that one, do let me know, and we'll see what we can or cannot do. Thanks for coming and hanging out, guys, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.